So I tried to film this once already, and I tried to do it while simultaneously feeding Ellie lunch, and it did not work out at all. Here's some clips of me failing at it. This is just, it's lunch, so I usually feed her some kind of leftovers and then I make like vegetables. So this is leftover teriyaki chicken that I shredded, and salmon and some like seaweed flakes over rice. And then see how she likes it. She's got milk in her cup. And then I made just some miso soup for her, which is, can you see? It's just got radish and Chinese cabbage, onions, and that's it in there. Like, sorry. Ellie Josephine. Anyway, I want to make a quick video while I can about Ellie's egg allergy. She's just talking to herself right now. But we found out around when she was 7 months old. Me and my husband went out to eat dinner at this okonomiyaki restaurant, which is like a Japanese pancake with cabbage and eggs and meat and flour in it. And we thought like, oh, it's pretty healthy and maybe we'll just try to give her some. And then I realized, oh yeah, there's eggs in there, we probably shouldn't be giving her that. So I told my husband, I'm like, let's not give her any more of this. And he was like, oh, it'll be fine, you know how guys are. It's fine, everything's gonna be fine, just don't worry about it. So we just kept feeding her, and then I noticed that she started to get like a little bit of rash around her mouth. So we gave her a little bit more, and then we left the restaurant, and it was like starting to spread up here around her nose and around her forehead area. And I was like, oh no, this is spreading, this is probably something. And he was like, you worry too much, it's gonna be fine. I'm like, well, if it is something, is there any hospitals open right now? And I don't know if I've even told you guys this story before, but I don't think I have. So he's like, yeah, the hospital right by our house, it's probably open. I'm like, okay. So we get home, and by the time we get home, her whole face is covered in hives. And like I could tell that she was uncomfortable because she was like squirming around and crying, and it looked like she was in pain. You want to say hi? Come here. Say hi. Can you say hi? So then I started to get really worried, and I was nursing her to try to calm her down, and I was looking online about what to do if your child's having an allergic reaction. And like all the websites that I went to were like, if there's any sign of an allergic reaction, take them to the emergency room immediately. So that like scared me, because it's like, oh, if your child goes into anaphylactic shock, they can die and all this stuff. And like the last thing I should do when I'm like worried is look on the internet, because that always just freaks me out way too much. So then I'm like starting to panic, and her face is like turning bright red, not just with hives, but like turning completely red, like you, I don't know, just completely flushed like a drunk man. And sorry, that was inappropriate. Anyway, so she was getting worse. Her eyeballs were turning red, like bloodshot and red, and it wasn't on anywhere on her body, just on her face. So I told Suki, alright, I think we should go to the hospital now. And at that point, he started to realize that it was serious, and he was like, okay. So we got in the elevator, because we live on the 11th floor, and then someone gets on the elevator on another floor, and she starts talking to us like, oh, what's wrong? And oh, my kid has an egg allergy too. And like she keeps talking to us like while we're, sorry. she keeps talking to us while we get off the elevator. She's like, oh, here, let me look for what hospitals are open. And I'm just like, can we just go? And then Ellie throws up all over me, like projectile vomits. And I'm like, then I just snapped and I'm like, oh my god, we need to go right now. So I just take off. Suki's just like, oh shit, she's freaking out. So he's like chasing after me. I'm like, have Ellie, and I'm just booking it down the street because we live like a block away from the hospital. So we get to the hospital and that lady follows us there and she's like trying to help us find a open hospital because we get there and they're open, but they don't have an emergency center, and they were closed. And so by that point, like, I kind of calmed down a little because people were helping us find another location that we could go to, and I could tell that after Ellie threw up she felt better because she wasn't like crying like she was in pain anymore, and she started to lose that red tint to her face, and I thought, okay, thank God she threw up the egg. And like, I calmed down. I thanked that lady because she helped us. So we found the hospital and then we never went because she started to get better, and so we just went home, and by the time that we got home she was completely fine. So that was our scare with Ellie's egg allergy. So now she doesn't eat anything with egg in it. Actually, no, she can have like pasta because it's like baked in and it's just such a tiny amount. If it's like a little tiny amount, like a cracker or something, she's fine. But anything with direct egg in it, like a pancake or a cake or anything with egg directly cooked into it, that she'll have an allergic reaction. So the way that I have dealt with that is, well, one, obviously not giving her eggs, but I replace eggs with great apples, because you can't really buy applesauce here, but you can use applesauce as a replacement for eggs. And I've heard of lots of different things you can use, like soda, and you can use, there's like a bunch of things that you can use, but I had a success using applesauce. So like, I'll make her meatballs, and I will, instead of putting an egg in there, I'll put some applesauce that I just shred myself. And that's good. It actually makes the meatballs like sweet and fluffy. They're not as fluffy as they would be if you put egg in there. So like on her birthday I made her cupcakes